Hello, you guys. Hello, you guys, and welcome. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. Welcome back to another. Give me a second, y'all. Let me go live on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. Let me make sure we got some audio. Hello, Instagram. Uh-oh, okay. So loud. It's so loud. Okay. So we are good to go, you guys. I love the fact that I have this uh this mic because the audio I was watching. Hello, Romeo. Peace, peace. Um, peace, family. Welcome. I'm so glad I have this mic because uh when I was watching back the video from last night, I was like, oh my gosh, my people has not been able to hear me. My people has not been able to hear me. And so now I'm just so excited about it. But before we jump into the message, y'all, God has such a divine, such a divine message for us tonight. This shirt says you only live forever. You only live for forever. And I thought it was so crazy because I just got this shirt today. And God was just, God be foreshadowing stuff, right? God is really great at foreshadowing. So anyways, before we get into the message, I just want to say and give some gratitude to God because I know who I am. I know who I am, and I also know who God is to me. And so all day I was experiencing some self-doubt, you guys. I could not put my thumb on it. I'm like, what is wrong? I'm like, what is wrong with me? I was literally talking myself out of everything. I was literally talking myself out of everything. And you don't become aware until you aware, right? Like you're not aware until you're aware. And I was like, something is going on with me. I feel different. I just can't get past this. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm not going to even come on. I'm not going to come on because I'm like, I can't. Sorry, y'all. One of the babies just woke up. Give me a second. I was like, I'm not even going to come on because I don't have anything to say because I didn't talk myself pretty much out of everything. And so I just got to give all the gratitude to God because God has forever and always given me every reason to be grateful. And so we're going to get into why I was able to find gratitude and how me going to God with what it was that I was dealing with is what brought me on here today. Let's just be honest. Let's just be completely honest. So self-doubt, you guys, as you can tell by the title, I must learn to overcome self-doubt if I want to continue on my success journey. If I want to continue on my success journey, I must overcome self-doubt, right? I must overcome. So where does self-doubt come from? Where does it come from? It comes from amnesia. You not remembering who you are and your divine abilities. Because if you were in remembrance of who you are, self-doubt wouldn't come around as often because you will be aware of your powers, of your gifts and your abilities, right? So self-doubt would not essentially be a factor for you if you remembered who you were. So you are dealing with amnesia, okay? So that's where it comes from. But what is it? Give me a second, y'all, because the baby done walked in here. Yes, baby. Sorry, y'all. The baby sleepwalking. No, she be getting up using the bathroom. Um, but so what is self-doubt, right? What is self-doubt? Y'all know me. I love me some foundation work, okay? Because we need to understand the basics of this stuff, right? So what is self-doubt? Self-doubt is a mental health issue. Self-doubt is a mental health issue. Mental health issue. And so God is the mental plane. God is the mental plane, right? So if you have a mental health issue, that means that you are having an issue with God. And so you are in separation from God. All right. Let's break down the meaning of self-doubt, right? The etymology, because we got to get down to the deepest understanding of what we're dealing with. So that way we know how to overcome it, right? So what is self? A covering or trimming of the same material, y'all, in color as the rest of an item. Okay? So it is doubt. To not trust someone or believe what they say. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't got it yet. Y'all do not got it yet. So what is self-doubt then? Self-doubt is you not trusting the covering and the protection that God has over your life already. Okay? Because God is the covering. You are made of the same material as God, the same colors as God. And so when you are in self-doubt, you are not trusting the covering that God has already over your life. And you're not in belief of what God has created you to be. Not believing that you are God, that you are God in the flesh. That's what self-doubt is. That's what self-doubt is. It's you not believing what God has created you to be. Why? Because you have amnesia. Because you have amnesia about who God is and what God has given you. But that's okay. We're going to unravel this thing, right? We're going, you know me, I'm going to unravel this thing. We just going to do it. We going to do it. And so God said that you are capable of overcoming anything. You are capable of overcoming anything. And so does anybody have any questions? Any questions about self-doubt? Self-doubt. You are in doubt of what God has given you. Okay, but we're gonna unravel this thing today, because today is the day where you are going to remember exactly who you are and what your capabilities are. So what is the solution, Choo? Because great. I'm so glad and grateful that you have given me a deeper meaning of what self-doubt is. Awesome. Thanks. Right? So the solution that I had, right? And I'm only sharing from my own personal experience, right? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm none of these things, right? But I am a soul. I am a soul. And that's enough. That's enough. I'm qualified, not playing. So my solution was giving it to God, giving it to God. And we spoke a lot about this yesterday, where we were going to seek the will of God, because God was giving us the highest understanding about who we are. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love that you are here. Welcome. Um, so God can give you the deepest understanding about who you are at the core. And so at your soul, right? And if you know how to do this, you can be free. If you can go to God and get the deepest understanding about who you are at the core, you can be free. You can be free. Because what you're going through is not surface anyway. There is an attack out on your spiritual being. You are going through psychological warfare. Psyche, meaning soul warfare. And so the attack is out on your soul. And so if you can go to God to get the highest in the deepest level of understanding, you can be free. You can be free. But you must be willing to seek the counsel of God. Okay. So let's continue to break this down. So let's go back to the basics. You are a soul being. You are a soul being. Okay. The soul equals a consciousness, energy, or light. Okay. And we all learned in science class in third grade that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Right? We all learned that. We all learned about magnets and energy not being able to be created nor destroyed. But what they failed to mention was that they was talking about you. They was talking about you. They didn't tell you that you were energy. Because if they would have told you that, they known that you would have figured out who you were. But that's okay. Choo is here today. We're gonna unravel this thing. Okay? Keep that in mind. Energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. And if you are the soul, y'all not hearing me. If you are the soul, then you cannot be created, nor destroyed. And so when we gonna unravel this thing, y'all ain't ready. Y'all not ready. God created you with specific talents, gifts, and abilities so that you will always overcome. So that you will always overcome. You were put here. You were put here to overcome. So what is overcome, Choo? To defeat the opponent or succeed in dealing with a problem or adversity. So if you were put here to overcome, the battle is already won because God has given you what you need to overcome. How? How has God given me everything that I need to overcome? With gifts and abilities like alchemy, transformation, transfiguration, transmutation. Because why? Because God knew that your energy could not be created nor destroyed. And so God had to give you alchemy. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. God had to give you transformation, transfiguration, transmutation, so that you could overcome. So that you could overcome. But what is alchemy? To free your spiritual self from fears, limiting belief systems, lack of self-acceptance, and doubt. And self-doubt. God gave you alchemy so yet you would not doubt God. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. God gave you alchemy so that way you would not doubt God. God sent you here to free your spiritual self from fears, limiting beliefs, and doubt. Why is this important? Because we know that the universe is providing for me and for us based on our belief systems. And so if we can't alchemize, then that means we cannot manipulate with the atmosphere to get it what it is that we want. And so we have to alchemize our limiting beliefs. So that we can get God to provide for us in which ways we need God to. Right? And so what does it mean to transform? To change completely the appearance or character of someone or something, especially so that thing or person is improved. God gave you the ability to improve yourself. And so self-doubt, where? Because God has created me to be able to transform. I can transform, especially for my improvement. I can change completely what I look like. I can build upon my character. So that way I am improved. So that way I improved. Right? What is transmutation? To change or alter form, appearance, or nature, especially, listen, especially into a higher form. You ain't hear me. Mm-mm-mm-mm. To change or alter the form of you or the nature of who you are, especially into a higher form. What do you think they're talking about? They're talking about God. God has given you the ability to transform and to transmute into God. Through embodiment. Mm, 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 mm. Through embodiment and activation. God has given you the ability to transmute your energy. You can change your nature in a special way, right? You can change the nature of who you are into a higher form of yourself. God has given you that ability. And so self-doubt where? And so self-doubt who? Because we just learned that self-doubt was me not believing and trusting the covering and protection that God has over my life. And so now that I know that God has given me these abilities, I will never doubt God again. I'm not going to never doubt God again because God has given me these abilities to transform myself in a beautiful way, to transform into something more beautiful or elevated. I can transfigure who I am. I can transfigure who I am. I get to become more beautiful. I get to become more elevated because these are the things that God has given me. These are the things that God has given me. Right? And so when we have those moments of self-doubt, now we know we have the ability. Now we know we have the ability to alchemize, to transform, to transfigure, to transmute ourselves to be more like God, to be more like God, to be more beautiful or elevated in our form, in our form, in our nature of who we are. And so we no longer have to self-doubt because we know what God has given us. So what do we need to self-doubt for? Because I trust the covering now. God is the covering that is made of the same material as you. And so God knew everything you needed. God knew everything that you needed before you got here. God knew you was coming to have a human experience. And so God gave you the ability to transmute. These are the gifts, talents, and abilities that you withhold, that you do every day and you don't even know. These are things that we are already doing. We are already doing these things with ease. But now you are aware that those are the things that God has given you. God has given you that ability, right? You were placed here to overcome. God has already prepared you for the battle. God has already prepared you for the battle, right? You were placed here to overcome. And so God has already prepared you to defeat the opponent. Y'all ain't heard it. To defeat the opponent that has an attack out on your soul. And so God has already given you what you need to overcome. To overcome. The battle is already won. God is 10 steps ahead of you. The battle is already won. God sent you here to win. God sent you here to win. God sent you here to win. When God prepared you and created you with these gifts, talents, and abilities in mind. Right? God is the mental plane. God is the mental plane. And so God already had you in mind when God created you. God knew that you were going to go through some things down here. God already knew you was going to go through some things. God knew. And so you only live forever because your energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. And so you only live forever. Y'all ain't hearing me. Y'all is not hearing God tonight. God got some crazy stuff coming out in this season. And so you only live forever. All right. So I want you to look up these words. Look up these words yourself. True enlightenment is when you go do the research for yourself. True enlightenment is when you go do the research for yourself, because the only way in which you can learn is through the retinas. You are a reader. You are a reader. Your eyes are projecting light, right? Your eyes are projecting light. You are literally projecting your form here. And so this is an illusion. And so your soul has the ability to transmute and transform energy, because you are only energy. And so true enlightenment happens when you go do the research for yourself, so you can transmute, right? And read the energy for yourself, because words are energy as well. Words are sounds. Y'all are listening to sounds right now, right? Y'all are listening to sounds right now. So go look up the words yourself. All right. So let's move into some daily habits that can combat self-doubt, right? Meditation, stillness with God, seeking the counsel and the will of God daily. Daily. Why? Because if you are doing these things daily and they are a habit, it is harder for self-doubt to creep in, right? It's harder for self-doubt to creep in if you have a daily habit of getting still with God and seeking the counsel of God. If that's a habit that you're doing anyway, not because you're having a time of misunderstanding, but because you do it daily, it's harder for self-doubt to get in. It's harder for self-doubt to creep in because you're no longer experiencing amnesia. You're no longer experiencing amnesia because you're in remembrance of who God is and what God has given you. And so staying connected to God and staying connected to God, right? You're having a co-creating experience. So staying connected to God is important. And you do that by meditating. And you do that by being still with God and listening for direction and seeking the counsel and the will of God. We all have a will, right? You know how to be like willpower. And like, she got a lot of willpower. That's having control over your reality, right? That's having influence. Seeking the influence of God. That's you having influence over your own experience. And so if you go to somebody that has the highest, listen, if you go to somebody that has the highest will, you ain't heard me, that has the highest will, the highest influence over your experience, who can come up against you? Who can come up against you? Self-doubt where? Self-doubt where? Right? We're not in self-doubt no more because we now understand and we now trust the covering. We trust the solution, right? We trust the solution because God gave it to us. Because God gave it to us. These are our abilities. Because God has the deepest understanding of who you are. God knew that you were pure consciousness, pure energy. And so I needed to give my children something because we knew their energy was going to be manipulated with. Because God knew you were coming to have an experience, that you were going to go through a process so that you can transform and so that you can transfigure into something more beautiful and elevated. God knew that. God knew that you were coming to be more beautiful and more elevated, right? And so self-doubt, where we just crushed that, that's no more because we no longer have amnesia. We remember who God is. All right. We remember who God is. And so it's time. It is time for you to get activated. We did not come to play. Y'all know we did not come to play tonight. And it is time for you to get in your community. It's time for you to get in your community. Because God has given you everything that you need. And so you can begin. And so you can begin. Why? Because self-doubt where? We just destroyed that. We not worried about that no more. We know who God is. And so we don't need to be doubting God anymore. We trust God. We believe what God is telling us. We no longer need to have a negative self-talk. We no longer need to say, God, no, that's not true. That's not going to happen, because we trust the covering. Because we trust the gifts and abilities that God has given us. So when God says you can do it and you like, dang, I can't do it. But God said, I gave you alchemy. I gave you alchemy. I gave you the ability to free yourself. I gave you the ability to free yourself. I gave you the ability to change completely. So that person you knew in the past, you can have that. Because I probably did do something. But I have transformed. And I have transfigured into something more beautiful and elevated. Right? And so you can have that. And so you can have that. God has given me everything that I need. God has given me everything that I need. And you were placed here to overcome. God has already prepared you for battle. All right. God is 10 steps ahead of you, and the battle is already won. That's the covering. That is the covering that you have over your life, where somebody will create you to win. Somebody will create you to win. That's powerful. That's very divine. You guys, I'm so excited for tonight's message, you all. I'm so super excited because I know this message was definitely for me tonight. This message was for me. I'm going to watch this back because, when I am sitting down and I am channeling God's energy, God has given me the message. And so I'm just writing it down, writing it out, and I'm preparing the presentation. And before I get on, I ask God to work through me. And so I'm never really in the experience. I'm just the observer, right? And so this message is so for me, because this is what I was going through today. That self-doubt, because I had amnesia about who I was and how God created me. And so I'm so excited. That's all God had for you guys today. I only made it to 38 minutes, but that's okay. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this message. It's a powerful one. Take this into your life. If you found value in this video, make sure you share this channel with somebody. As you guys know, I am on the road to 1K, okay? And I want to get this done in the next 15 days. So I'm on the ground. My feet is on the ground. I'm getting the people in. So I would love if you guys could help me with that goal, so we can get as many as God people in here tonight, because this channel is very powerful. God is bringing the heat in this season, because it is harvest season. And so the enemy has come to collect too. But it's people like me and you that could allow God to use us as vessels to free a soul. And so everybody already know my goal in this 30-day live event is to free me a soul, period. I don't care if it's one. I only need one. I don't need too many. God don't need too many. God can work with one. God can work with one. And so if you found value in this video, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to share this channel, share this message with somebody, because it was a very powerful one. I know that if I was dealing with self-doubt today, I was not the only one, because self-doubt creeps in. You will talk yourself about greatness. And not only will you talk yourself up out of daily task, but you will talk yourself up out of your dreams. And we talked about dreams last night, y'all. Go to the video before this one. We talked and we broke down what dreams was and who you are. So you would basically talk yourself up out of God. And we don't got no more time. We don't have that type of time. Okay, we don't have the type of time. So yay, I love you guys. I am so super excited to have you guys. Thank you guys for joining me on this live tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Have a good night. Bye on Instagram.